Welcome, I'm the Unknown Pilot RC. Today we're going to be talking about a top RC Model Corsair. Some of the modifications that was done to this to make it fly a lot better. So the first thing we'll talk about is the EME Twin 70 is electric start. You can see the weight block here in the front, right in behind it. Next thing is going to be the modification of the 150 Robart gears to make those work, and gear doors, and also the 5-inch tires, the Robart brakes, which is hydraulically actuated also, and the tail wheel. Also, we're going to be talking about how to mount the wings differently and how to put a gull wing spar inside that wing. So that'll be coming up in other videos. Now what we're looking at here is a set of 150 gears, which was highly modified for this particular plane, and they are hydraulically actuated, and the gear doors back here are mechanical, which is closed by the tires themselves. So the hydraulic system only weighs 14 ounces is all it is. You see the gear doors has been 3D printed to make it work. And so these have a few hundred cycles on to make sure everything's going to work, and has several test flights on the plane itself, which we'll talk about it in an upcoming video coming up too. So next thing we're talking about here is the tail wheel assembly, which is actually made from two 160s is what they were made from. And in this case, it's mechanically, it uses a servo to pull it up and down when the gear goes up and down. And you'll see that the gear doors are also mechanically actuated. So there's no servos on it either. It runs off the gears itself. Next, we're going to talk about the Robart brakes, which is hydraulically actuated, which the system only weighs less than 6 ounces. And what you can do on your radio is you can put a switch on, and it will give you exactly, like if we have it set for 25 pound, it will give you 25 pounds a day, next month, even a year from now. We'll give you a preset amount. It also works off the up elevator, that when it's almost fully up, it will give you brakes. So now with the hydraulic actuated brake system that we have, you can hit your switch and give it a preset amount. By just looking at this gauge, you can actually see it work while you're getting ready to fly, to test everything out, make sure everything's going to work. The preset, then again, is like when you're on pavement, you need just a little bit of drag so you don't have to do all the tail waggle, to get out. And you can also go in, and when you're giving it almost full up elevator, your tail will be down on the ground, and you can see that it gets very serious with it. This system is capable of putting off 250 pounds total, but we don't need near that much, so we want to keep it down around 70 to 80 pounds. We really don't need them to lock up or anything like that. So all in all, that system worked great, very simple, all self-contained. Takes one servo to actually actuate it, and that is on a separate system from the gears. Next, we're looking at how the wings go together. In this case, the spar joining the two sections together is mounted in the wing itself and not in the airplane. And so we can see it here. We can move over and see how it's attached in the wings, and there'll be a video on that that's going to tell you how to rebuild that if you need to. There'll also be a video on how to put the main spar in this wing. With this system, we have 4 batteries, 2 in which are parallel with the receiver, which also runs most of the servos. The third one runs the hydraulic system as well as the hydraulic actuated brakes. And you can see the fourth one coming out with a charge tail, which runs the starter and the ignition system. This is an ignition system light. It tells you when it's on, which comes on in the same switch as the starter to make things real easy. And a tachometer here, and yes, you heard it from me, there is a gyro in this plane. Next, this plane was balanced exactly the way the plan says to do it. And the first few flights was bouncing like a rubber ball when it come into land. And one of the biggest reasons is because it was so tail heavy when it was landing. And then with the 15 ounces was added to the nose, and that pretty well solved that problem. But the characteristics of it is when you would get ready to come in, you had your Fowler flaps down, and you give it just a little bit of elevator. The Fowler flaps was blocking the air from the elevator, making it very sensitive. And it would fall to the ground and then bounce back up again due to the fact of the tail heaviness. So after adding 15 ounces to it, you could come in and hold just a little bit up elevator in it to make your landings kind of flare on in. So that really helped. The first time around, the plane weighed 37.5 pounds. Came in all in all pretty light. And then with the 15 ounces, it weighed just a little, just right at 38.5 pounds. So that's not bad as far as that goes. So in the nose itself, that block weighs about 3¼ pounds total weight. That's the whole assembly that puts it together. So what you're going to see in a future video is how to put the holes in the cow for the mufflers and get them exactly right on. How to put the main spar in, how to modify the gears, the Robart 150s so they'll work. The brake setup in it, it's all in the wings, so we really can't see it. It's all self-contained. How to modify the tail wheel. And probably a few other things, no doubt about that. So how to get everything, how to mount your wings a little bit differently so you don't have this big center section. So all in all, I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm a big Zeroli fan. So as you can tell, the way the main spar and everything was put in, that's the way Nick has done it for years. One thing about Nick is he designed the planes and he also flew them. So he knew exactly what to change. So some of these changes are related to his design. So the plane, even though it was tail heavy, flew really good in the air. Flew like a Corsair. But when it come around to the landings, it just liked to bounce. And so that's what was creating a lot of the wing fatigue. And so I just went in and just kind of fixed that problem right off the bat. so I wouldn't have to be fixing that later on. So have a good day and hope to hear from you soon. Goodbye.